me and Jacob Jones both are wearing hoodies, and we planned it.
We did.
You see, I almost wore a hoodie, but then I was like, no, it's Jacob Jones. I got to wear a sweatshirt or sweater. So
No, I legit had a sweater on right before I put this on, but I was like, I don't really like this look. And so I took it off. It's literally laying I legit had a sweater on.
Your Tommy was telling you.
I guess so.
It's even like a Jacob Jones color. Like,
yes, it is.
classic.
Wait, I'm gonna wait. Let me. This is the one that Suzi. This is how great our minds are connected.
I thought he was gonna change. Like he's gonna be like, you know
this
what?
I'm going with this. This was the color of my sweater that I literally had on.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
We would have been.
I was so close. So close.
Podquester.
It's Podquester time now. It's Podquester time.
Hi, Jacob Jones. Thank you for being with us.
Of course. What's up, guys? I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk about this messy adventure I went on. And yeah.
It's crazy now because you're the first one that we've done where it's like the season's over. You're free. You can talk about everything.
Talk about everything. I know I don't have to be hush hush about spoilers. I always like when I watch some of them, I'm like, oh, I bet it's so hard to like you want to like say, oh, this happened, but you can't because it hasn't like evolved on the show yet. And so, but now I can like release everything off the bat because everyone's seen everything.
I know when we did Brendan, he was like, I'm so glad TR is going to look at these because I feel like I was spoilery. And Tommy and I were like, we didn't notice any spoilers, but now we're going to like think about it with a fine-tooth comb and try to figure out what the spoilers were that he said.
Exactly. All season long, me and Suzi had our whiteboards up, all of them trying to deduce what happened through all everyone's exit interviews.
Yeah, we have the inside scoop. It was nice.
I bet. Wait, because I saw I haven't like listened to it yet, but I saw y'all did like interview with Audrey, and I was like, oh, that's so dope. Was that the night of the finale?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought y'all did it before the finale. Like I had like the inside scoop on like.
I don't like spoilers. I don't like spoilers. Yeah,
okay.
like
I love spoilers.
There's something there like. I can't resist spoilers if they're out there. So, like, if I'm watching, like, a season of Survivor, I need to know who wins first. Because I don't want to get my hopes up and then them be dashed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, and I just can't... If there's spoilers out there, I will eat them up.
I'm so bad that I'll watch a movie.
I prefer to experience it organically.
While watching the movie, I'll be on Wikipedia looking up how the movie ends because I can't wait. I can't wait. I gotta know what happens.
Gosh,
that's too extra. That's too extra.
That's too extra. Yeah.
But we're so glad that you're here and that we can have a spoiler-free episode because there's no more spoilers left.
There's no more spoilers. Everything's on the table.
Everything is. And, I'm a little sad Louie's not here because we have our full, no offense, Tommy, but Jacob, Jones, Louie, and I started in a room together in our very first games. Our very first game, the first one I won in April, by the way, which is like 9 months ago.
Oh my God. I feel so old.
In like 2.5 months, we will be at our 1 year anniversary, Jacob.
Oh, that's insane. In this crazy community. Oh my goodness. It wasn't back then. It's like it wasn't what it is now. You know what I mean? Because back then, I don't think the Twitter community was popping as much. I know we all got like on a Skype call like afterwards. I think of that game, but it's just so funny to look back on and see how far Sequester like has came.
Yeah, it was so weird. And you, me, and Louie started an alliance.
Fantastic Four.
the Fantastic Four with Zach Park, and then we brought that alliance into Winners at War. One, I would say that we are probably one of the most successful alliances of all time. Look at the track record.
Look at the track record, period.
Add the numbers up, BBs.
Absolutely.
That is completely without any actual research or math. Made up facts here, fake news. We love it.
But our resume is damn good. Our resume is damn good, though.
And our looks, flawless.
Oh, period.
Should I get a backwards hat and go run to the store real quick, grab some Capri Suns, and just to really be Louis?
Give us the vibes. But let's talk about this season. You are season 4 alum officially.
Yes.
Tell us, you and I talked a little bit before you went in about how different your strategy was going to be from the minis. And I saw that a lot. Originally in the minis, you played a very loyal game. And you said going in, your strategy was to be much more cutthroat and to think with your strategy first. Do you feel like that changed once you started playing, or do you think you stuck to that strategy?
I think I stuck to the strategy, but when it got too hard for me, I was just like, I can't. So going into the game, I wanted to play a different way that I played in the minis. For one, because I've oftentimes, and I think I talked about this with you and Louis, Susie, before the season. But my last game that I won when I was at war, different things happened in the game that took me mentally out, emotionally out of the game, where I honestly was like, did I deserve that win? And I kept harping on that, and people, kept putting like Jacob 2-time winner, but I didn't see like, dang, that's a game, and like I did things in that game that I can say confident, like I played the hell out of that game, and I oftentimes was hard on myself about that, and I've always wanted to like prove like I do have strategy. I feel like in my first game that I did win, I feel I played like I'm really proud of the game I played, even though it was a much more easier group to maneuver things around. I'm still proud of just like the strategy and just the different things that I did in that game. But Winners at War was oftentimes a game that I look back on, and I'm like, did I deserve it? And so I think I was hard on myself a lot. A lot of the times was just the Sequester community and my quote unquote reputation in it. And in those games, I played a much more calm, much more even keel, subdued person. I feel like people see my personalities outside of the game, because I think Audrey did something on the Patreon where she was like, I've only seen Jacob Jones, and in the games that he's played, he's only done enough to, win those games, and then that was kind of it. And so coming into here, I wanted to play differently. And I wanted to flex muscles that I felt wasn't seen in the games that I've played. And one was just the ability to be. I feel as though I'm about to say social work, but like the social aspect of this game, it comes very easily to me. But I really wanted to get into the strategy and the cutthroatness of it, and I wanted to like completely strip myself of like the nice guy kind of rap, and I wanted to play like, I don't know, I wanted to play a fun game, and I wanted to come into Sequester Season 4 having fun and like playing like ding, ding, ding. And so I felt as though me going into the game, I did that. I feel like since you kind of had an inside look at Susie, since you kind of had an inside look at the game I wanted to play, it was kind of like, okay, I'm not shocked that he actually did that, because he was talking like he was going to do that. But it was definitely still hard to do that. And my heart was definitely, and my emotions were shook at different periods of time playing this game, because the things that I did were very cutthroat, were very, weren't the Jacob Jones that people saw. And it was kind of like not necessarily an out of body experience, because I you play the game, differently each time, but it was more of like this is very taxing, and having real relationships in the game and things like that. And so I feel like I came in, played the cutthroat way that I wanted to, but different factors and the kind of things blowing back in my face kind of was like, okay, let's take a back seat to that. And I feel like you saw like my emotionally exhaustedness towards the end of the game, like probably like the last 2 rounds. And I even, with Natalie, it was like that was a strictly like emotional like relationship, and I kind of went back on like the cutthroatness, and I was just like, all right, come here, Natalie, you know what I mean? I love you. And so yeah, if that made sense.
Yeah, you definitely I think we talked about it in the finale. It's like you looked drained. You looked like it was all weighing at you towards the end. Where like if we go back to episode 1, it's like you're saying stuff, and it's like it's you can tell that the game is getting to you. Did you feel that like you go in with this mentality, right? And you walk in and you see what this cast is. Did that change your mindset or kind of double down on it? Like what were your thoughts seeing this cast?
So I honestly didn't think that certain people were going to be in the game. I just think like, okay, I don't think they would do it. I think they're probably schedules, me and Marcelo were our buddies, and we couldn't say anything to each other, but I would feel like going into it, I would like at least think, oh, he's definitely going to be here. But I had no idea he was going to be there. And so seeing him in the house, I was like, oh, dang, like, one of my best friends in the Sequester community, and seeing like different people I have relationships with, it made me, I didn't know if I was actually going to go through with it because of the tight bonds that I had. In my mind, I was like, I want to, but I didn't know if emotionally I could bring myself to the point of actually like pulling the trigger and letting the chopper ring. And so seeing the group that I was in, it was some big players, some big personalities. We had Katie freaking Hopkins, separate claim, villain as queen. And, seeing Brent, seeing Muna, seeing Billy, and seeing, Marcelo, I was like, I don't know if I could actually go through with these plans I had pre-game and actually like live them out in the game. And so, but I did it, but I didn't know if I was actually like, when I saw the group, I was like, I mean, because also this is the first time you're seeing people you've had relationships with in like for the last like 7, however many months since I started playing minis. And so when I first saw them, my immediate mindset wasn't, oh, I can't wait to cut your throat. It was like, dang, like this is the first time I'm seeing you. Like, give me, I want to express nothing but love and admiration for you. In my mind didn't go to, I can't wait to, slit your throat in the end. It was just like, dang, I have a genuine love for you. And this is my first time seeing you and expressing it to you like in person. And I'm being able to give you hugs and things like that. And so when I saw the group, I definitely took like a step back with that. But as the game continued, they're like, all right, Jacob, like let's put some fuel in this bitch and let's go. Definitely ramped up.
That makes sense to me. I feel like it's hard to be flexible in game. Do you think that you were flexible enough in that strategy?
In the cutthroatness?
And like trying to balance this cutthroat versus this emotional feel.
I feel as though I don't think I was flexible enough. Because once I did something cutthroat, my emotions took over, and I was like, I somewhat retreated in many aspects because it was the date night round, and people always say like, oh, why didn't you throw in Billy with your power? I emotionally could not have done that. Like I'm already like doing this to Muna, and then I had this plan of, okay, I'm going to set this plan in motion and I'm not going to be seen as the one that actually did it, And so when everything started to unravel and when me and Muna started going at it, and then when me and Billy started going at it, and I was like, I have to use my power. And I already didn't trust Brendan to that point. And so, but people in my mind, I was going through, should I just do Billy? Should I just do Billy? Should I just do Billy? And honestly, in the game aspect and strictly in the game aspect, it would have made sense for me to do Billy because her and Muna were, each other's number one. She was already pissed at me. I could have got one of them out of the game. But emotionally, I was like, I cannot. The knife is already in. I can't twist it, and I can't like stump on it as I'm doing it. It was like emotionally, I could not do it. And so I think my emotions started to override my cutthroatness that I wanted to play because, I'm also a person that has love for these people. And as much as I wanted to come in and be a total robot and a killer, my heart was like, no, Jacob, like you can't do that all the way. And so that definitely like hindered like my game. And even if I think about that round specifically, I think, should I have done it? I probably should have, but even at this point right now, would I have done that? I don't think I still would have done that, because just emotionally my heart would not have like allowed me to do it.
Well, and it's easy to say after it's all, we always said it on the recaps of like, it's easy to play Monday night quarterback and be like, yeah, the logical move is this, but like, it's so hard, that emotional side is so hard when you're really there and you're seeing these people and you're doing that. It's a hard thing to be able to do.
Yes, it really is. It really is.
I would just like to point out that Tommy uses this phrase. I understand it from context, but I don't understand football. So, like, from context, I get it, but I'm also like, isn't Monday Night Football a thing? Shouldn't they be? I understand, like, what the phrase is, like being one of the newscasters, like that, or like being a backseat driver kind of situation, but like, I don't. Like, I need to look up the etymology of it because I don't quite get that.
Put it in the Tommy's.
Go ahead.
Put it in the Tommyisms with right next to Boo Boo the Fool.
Boo the
Fool versus Boo Boo the Clown. Yes.
Oh my God.
The debate rages on. But I think that, you know, we saw you make a lot of difficult emotional moves. And then at the end, when you were voting, you seem to be also weighing the same thing, strategy and emotion / social ideals. Can you talk a little bit about how you weighed those and how you kind of came to your decision?
Yeah. Going into the final two, my mind was definitely open. And I have to say this. I'll just say that to the end. But and so seeing Billy, I mean, I would have loved to see Natalie in the final. This is like, you know, I just got out. I gave Natalie this like super pumped up speech. I was like, yo, my girl's gonna make it to my team. We're gonna like let the rain chop her. Everything's gonna be amazing. But seeing her come out, I was like, dang it. And so seeing Spencer and Billy, I was like, how do I want to like go? Because in the game, me and Billy like always had like love and respect for each other in the game, but we really never worked tightly in the game. And it wasn't like we were working against each other. At a certain point we were, but it oftentimes wasn't like we were working against each other. It was just like we just didn't talk. We missed each other in the round, and you know, the communication aspect lacked. But me and Spencer's relationship, it was at first up and down. And then we tried to, you know, work together, and then the different twists didn't really allow us to. I mean, at certain rounds it did, but going later when, you know, 3 people were safe and then 2 people were safe, it really didn't allow us to really have that aspect of working together. But we worked together much closely than Billy's game. And so I feel like I saw Spencer's game in a way of like a fighter and very scrappy. And in my eyes, I saw Spencer coming into the game, social game, horrible, him maneuvering and being, because I mean, he tried to work with me in the beginning numerous times. I didn't really want to work with him in the beginning stages. And so I was like, okay, let's get him out. We can get him out easily. But the thing I really liked about Spencer's game was I saw it as being fluid. And him coming in, you know, effing up massively and being a target, and then kind of him interweaving himself into like an alliance with me. And then we're kind of working with Natalie in an aspect. And then him working with Muna, and then him getting Josh and Billy. And so I really like that maneuverance of Spencer's game. And being voted out, it means like, hey, you didn't really succeed in this round, and you know, something failed. But once the power is all in the person that's choosing the battle match, I have to see that as well. And so we give the power to the person being eliminated once we vote. Then it's up to them to choose whoever they want. And so I feel like Spencer, even at times, I personally would not have made the decisions that he would have made in the battle match picks with the certain people he picked. I saw like an aspect of strategy in that as well. In Billy's game, I just strictly saw like the social ability that she has. And I didn't see Billy's game, honestly, probably because I was focusing on my shit show and the people that I was working with shit show. And so I didn't see the the utter brilliancy of Billy's, like when I'm watching Sequester season 4 from episode 1 to episode 10, blown away by, first off, her confessionals, the moves that that round that I got in with Spencer, she completely flipped the shit and got me thrown in there. And so seeing the way that she maneuvered and the way that she strategized things, I was like, dang, I wish I would have saw this in the game, or my eyes would have been open. Not saying I regret my voting, because I think I love the way Spencer played. And I just think if I saw Billy's game as like a bird's eye view, it would have been like, wow. And so I went into it with an open view, but I didn't get when I asked the jury questions, I didn't get really what I wanted in both of their answers. And so I just went on who game have I seen more in this entire game, and it was Spencer's. And so I just like the scrappy aspect of it, and the aspect that he had my back and wanted to work with me along the way. And so
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Jake, you know how I feel. No, I just think that, I don't know if I have a lot of shit to say, because that's very similar to the reasons I voted for you in the Winners at War 1. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's really interesting. What was the vote for the Winners at War 1?
I think it was like 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think that's very interesting that, I had a very similar experience as to why I voted for you for Winners at War 1. Though I will say, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Muna was very active, and that helped a lot too for me to solidify my vote there. We're thinking about that. We're thinking about jury, right? And so that kind of brings me back to this season and how jury worked, where it was from day one, which is not what we've seen in previous seasons. How did that change how you kind of worked?
I don't think I took it into consideration along the way. And my main goal was to try to build my resume and just talk my shit when I got to the end. And that's very ballsy, because I'm not really taking into consideration the emotions of the jury. It was just in my mind, okay, game decisions, game time. When I get there, I'm just going to list off what I did and try to just attack the game aspect of the players. But in my mind, I'm also an emotional person. And so I should have taken in consideration the emotional hurt that a lot of the jury had towards me. And so going through the rounds, I even Jay West and then Katie, I never really had a direct impact on them leaving. And so, yeah, I don't think I really took it into consideration, the emotional side of it. And so I was just my main goal, if I got to final 2, was just going to talk my shit and talk what I did and let that go.
Yeah, just forward the strategy and hope that the jury respected game.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, Tommy, did you have a question?
Oh, you're good.
I feel like I'm taking them all.
You're good. I was going to talk about the killer round, but if you have something that's more related to what we were just talking about, you can go first, Susie.
That's okay. It kind of just slipped my head. So.
Okay. Yeah. So I was, when you're talking about Billy's game, I feel like a big part of it, was her revealing she was the killer. And that's for you. That's, it's still early in the game, but it was the first time someone took a hit at you. Some people believed you were the target. Some people didn't. How did you feel in that round? Hearing, when you were picked by the killer, how did you feel, your mindset going in?
I mean, they probably should have got rid of me then. That I couldn't run hell throughout the house the rest of the season. And so I thought that they would, because I was well connected in the game. And Spencer and Natalie tried to get that out there, and whoever the detective was, I didn't know. And so I was like, okay. And I knew it wasn't Spencer or Natalie, and Spencer and Natalie is the person, the two people at that time that I would have put up if I was the killer. And so I'm like, okay, so obviously it's someone else that's well connected, and I'm kind of like a casualty, and I don't know who it is. And so I was very nervous. But once I got back in the round, everyone was like, you're good. And I was like, oh, okay. And I think because I was so well insulated into the group, that I was working with everyone, so like people didn't want to lose an alliance member at that time. And so I feel like I was very blessed of having that like target, but also connecting with a lot of people in the game that early, which Spencer and Natalie really didn't have. And so after I came back in, when I was first isolated, I was like, oh, damn, I'm kind of nervous right now. But once I got back in the round, I was like, oh, okay, I can chill and we can, vote out. I think Natalie got voted out, but I thought Spencer was going to get voted out that round. And yeah, and so, and I'm the type of person also that I process something and then I move on. And so when Billy revealed that, I wasn't in like a shock of like everyone else, because like I was like, oh, okay, that was cool. All right, like, and that's just how my mind operates. And like, okay, I processed it, and it's hard for me to go back and to like think, oh dang, like wow, it's like a tornado just came through and like wrecked my life. But she played that round very well, and so yeah.
Now, you said that when you came back in, you were most worried that people were going to kind of unite against you because you were so connected. When I was watching, I felt like that wasn't your biggest concern. It felt like you were really focused on how your shoulders looked in the flop top.
Oh, an exclusive.
This is not your only fan.
Wait, you saw that? You saw me rolling? Okay, when I tell you, we were behind the fireplace probably for like 2 or 3 minutes. And I was like, so one of the aspects of my body that I really love is my shoulders. And I mean, I wish I can like show them off. Oh my! And my clavicles. You can like put a bowl of.
It's all about your clavicles.
Yeah, right? You can like put a bowl of cereal in here and like. Anyways, and so when I saw the jerseys, I was like, first off, ew, because they were boxy. And if I would have had it on, I'm trying to get my shoulders, it would have like hung out like right here and not drop down. And I was like, no, I want a little cinch in on my body, on my shoulders. And so I started to wrap the things. And then I turned to Spencer and I was like, how does this look? He was like, bro, it doesn't look good. Don't do it. And I was like, you don't know anything. And so I was like, I rolled out there and I loved the look. When I saw it, I was like, chow, a fashion designer. Like, I was like, mwah, Gucci has nothing on me, because you have like, that was just so beautiful, sexy, sultry. It turned me on watching. When I saw that, I was like, damn, I am fine and cute.
Are we waiting for the Jacob Jones Sequester line?
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think Project Runway is shook right now.
They are. They've never seen anything like that. But that was a key, because I was like, I saw them. I was like, ugh. And I was just like rolling. I was like, come on, make it right here. And then it was. I was like, perfect. And so, but on the screen, it looked better than I think in person. Because in person, I was kind of looking at myself like, what the hell? But I'm so glad that I love seeing it in person. I was like, I love it so much. And Spencer and Natalie wish they could do it, but.
You said they were flops for a reason.
Exactly.
Make it fashion.
Make it fashion. Exactly.
Oh my God, flops.
Oh, that was fashion. Funny. I'm such a thought. I really am such a thought.
No, we know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be sending TR your OnlyFans to go across the page while we.
Yeah, absolutely.
While we do
what's a thought?
That hoe over there. I'm that hoe.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was like hot, but it's like too hot.
It's that hoe. Who's the hoe, Tommy?
I guess it's Jacob Jones.
I'm the hoe.
Oh, it's Jacob
Jones. Yes.
Oh my gosh, the corruption of Tommy. Well, moving back to game, yes. You were the king of making alliances, final twos. You made a final two with Spencer. You made a final two with Natalie. You made a final two with Marcelo. I don't know if you made a final two with Muna or if it was just assumed, but there were a lot of people who were like, Jacob Jones is taking me to the end. At least 3 of those, you made it clear that a lot of your motivations were you thought you could beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But as you mentioned, that seemed to change over time with Natalie. That may have been your initial reason for final twoing with Natalie. But in the end, you actually grew to have a real relationship with her. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what about you and Natalie Belt?
So coming into the game, I heard I think day 0, going into day 1, I heard that Natalie was a part of the Jay West debacle of wanting to get me and Muna out. And so I was very iffy about Natalie, and I didn't really care if she was in the game or not in the game at that point. But it was when she came back from elimination with Katie, we had a conversation, and because I knew that she was she had the perception of me and Muna, and her and Jay West, and I think it was her and Jay West, and Jay West told Brendan, and then Brendan told me that Natalie and Jay West came up with this plan. And so I always thought, okay, Natalie, I don't know how far I can really trust her or how much I can trust her, because she already kind of threw this out day 0 going into day 1 about, we need to target Jacob and Muna. And so when Natalie came back, I grabbed Natalie and I was like, hey, first off, I was not one of the votes that eliminated you. I was, but I didn't think she was leaving. I thought Spencer was leaving, but I was one of those to vote her out. I was like, I was not one of those to vote you out. And I'm not dumb enough to sit next to Muna in the end. And then she was like, okay, Jacob, use me to for that development of getting Muna out. And I was like, and then that kind of solidified a little bit of something right there. And I thought okay, Natalie is not, I didn't see Natalie's game as really doing much. And I think Natalie really couldn't do much with the game she had at that time, because she just didn't have the social capital as other players did. And so I saw her and I was like, let's go. I can definitely utilize you to do that when it needs to be done. And when you make game plans with someone and you execute them, I feel like that just grows you 10 times closer. And so the date night round. Oh, and then Muna got eliminated the 3rd round because Spencer chose her for a battle match. And then me and Natalie were Natalie thought that I was going to throw her to the wind. To the wind or to the moon? I think it's to the wind. Throw her to the wind. But I wasn't. I was like, I still want to work with you. Oh, I'm missing a key part. Round 4, when me and Spencer were paired and I got voted in, Spencer called out Natalie, and I was like, yo, Spencer, that's not the move. Do not put Natalie in. And then, I tried to stop him from putting in Shireen as well, but I was I kind of used my leverage with that. I was I guess I can't do anything anymore. And so I tried to get Spencer to not throw in Natalie, because I'm not dumb. It was not smart for Spencer to even consider it. Natalie's at the bottom, and she voted me, who she tried to vote Brendan. But it's not this girl can really do much at this time. So why are you doing you need her in the game? Obviously, she's at the bottom. You're at the bottom. I'm kind of at the bottom too at this point. And so why are you about to pick her? I was like, Spencer, that's so stupid. Don't pick Natalie. And she heard that because I said it out loud. I said it out loud for 2 reasons. For one, because I actually didn't want him to choose Natalie, and for 2, I knew she would hear that, and I knew that it could definitely work for my advantage. And so when we came back in from that round, and when me and Spencer came back in, she pulled me to the side, and she was like, I really appreciate you having my back and telling him not to choose me. And that kind of solidified something. And then we were kind of starting to build momentum with working together, and then date night happened, and then we formulated that plan together. And having that being executed, even though it blew up in my face specifically, having just planning that and going forward with it, it built a lot of trust. And I was like, damn, I really appreciate you. For having my back, for that's a dangerous move to go to do at around date night. And so I appreciate you sticking with me and not cowering down in that aspect as well. And so that's where my oh, Natalie, I can easily be here in the final 2. It was kind of mutual. I have a respect for you for first off having my back, because I played such a messy game, and it was she. After that point, she never really wavered with me. And I can even see it going into the last 2 episodes where she tried to not get me thrown in. She tried to get Spencer. And we had that moment of I'm trying to get them to not choose you. And even with me and Marcelo, when we were up, she voted to, like eliminate Marcelo, her and Spencer did. And I was like, I appreciate that, because at the time, or a little bit before that, Marcelo was really connecting with Natalie. And yeah, I just think Natalie having my back and planning and executing plans together really solidified something tight. And I just like honestly grew to like love and respect her a ton. And I thought, I knew at that time the jury was like pissed. Like just didn't like the way I was going throughout the game. And I was like, honestly, if I could be sitting at the end with anyone, it would be like, my partner in crime that I did all this shit with. You know what I mean? So like, if we're going to go through this shit, I'd rather sit at the end with you so we can experience. And I would have loved that moment, her win, or I would win. And I was just think like, that would be amazing. That's why I gave her that speech of like, hey, Natalie, like talk with your chest once you're making the final 4 and final 2. Cause like, I believe in you and I support you and I'll be your number 1 fan. And so I think that's where the difference of me just thinking, okay, I can be her too. We're like right here. And I like want to see you succeed.
Well, that was a really nice relationship to see.
Yeah. It was sweet watching it back too, because in the game, you never know how other people are like, because I never knew if Natalie was like, oh, he's just like using me for game and things like that, but just that she like actually had my back. It's like so super dope to see, and I'm definitely thankful for that relationship that I got outside of, because I burned a lot of my relationships going into the game. You know what I mean? So if I could form something like so sweet in the game, I was like, okay, come here, Natalie. I want to give you a hug. I love you. Because this is also something that you guys did not see. Once we got done with the pot smashing challenge, and we came back inside. Y'all remember when Natalie was talking to Spencer, and I was just like standing there like this, and she was like, I want to battle you in the battle match. Like, I want to choose you. So like vote me or something like that. I'm going to vote you. Right before that, and the reason I was just standing like this, first off, I was like, if Natalie's going to go at Spencer like that, I was like, okay. I don't know when to interject myself in there. But immediately when the round started, she was like, Jacob, I just really like want you to win. And we like gave each other a big hug. Like it was like we gave each other a hug. And then Spencer was standing right there. And then that's when she talked to Spencer. Immediately when we came back in, she was like, Jacob, honestly, like I really just want you to win. And I was like, oh goodness, come here, little girl. And then she talked to Spencer. So that's why I was standing there just like, okay. My heart was like, and I was exhausted too at that point. But yeah, that was the switch up with me and Natalie's relationship.
Yeah. It is interesting too. It's like in a game that going in, a lot of people, when they saw the cast, it was pre-existing relationships. It was all the buzz. And I think people do underestimate in-game alliances, in-game relationships over, like, it's like, so you don't know how someone's going to play the game. Someone could play the game to game. Some people, it's all just different. Every game is so different.
It really is. It really is.
So speaking of that round, well, actually, let's back up. Post date night, you and Marcelo are up, and
that was after date night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what post means. Okay,
we're learning so much today.
Pre means before, post means after.
I now know what a thought is. Today's an education day.
God, I was so illiterate. Okay.
So you and Marcelo up. Y'all assume that Muna has safety. She's the one who put you up, and he kind of goes buck wild, right? And everything explodes. Was that surprising to you? How did you feel when everything kind of just blew up there?
So I knew that I was going to be one of the nominees. I was like, I just did that shit. I know it's going to be some pushback with me. And I figured Marcelo would be the other person. And I think this was the round that I just completely went with my emotions and my feelings at that moment. And so the round started. And so, but the cameras did not catch this. Before the round actually started, Marcelo, I think, went to the restroom and then he sat back on the couch before we got to like get up. And he was like, oh, all these traitors and everywhere like this. And I'm looking at this man like, are you okay? Like, and if you like, it was just after that fight that when Muna came back, and then we also Billy and Marcelo, and then me and Muna started arguing. It was like right after that, and he was like, all these traitors around me. I was like, okay, I don't really know what you mean by that. And so I was just going, I knew I was going to be, one of the ones up. And I figured Marcelo was, and I didn't expect him to just what I perceive as like, oh, it was Jacob did all of this, like to just throw me completely under the bus. Because in my mind, Marcelo, Muna and Billy are after me at this point. You don't have to do that much to get them to not vote me. Like we could honestly, I would have been completely fine if like he handled it. And this was just my sensitive emotional side. I was like him handling like Jacob is one of us. Like I'm not like necessarily going to trash you. I'm just going to like prove to them like why like I want to stay. But I heard him like, it was Jacob and Natalie, like they lied and they manipulated this, and like he backstabbed me, and now that's why the 4 isn't working. And I'm like, dude, calm down, please. And I was just getting so annoyed because I'm like, yo, we're boys, we're both up, we can handle this situation. Like, all right, one of us is leaving, and because I was not like, oh my goodness, I figured I was going because between me and Marcelo at that time, I was the bigger threat. And I knew Muna and I knew Billy already had those feelings. And I think the only votes for me were Spencer and Natalie and, myself to vote out Marcelo. And so I knew I had Spencer and Natalie's vote. And I just figured like, okay, I just need to get ready for a battle match. And if he did not do some of the like antics that he did, and I remember I tried to like walk away at one point because I like was by the door and I was like, I feel like I'm becoming a bitch right now. And then he got up and then continued to like just like talk about it, and I like came back in the room, and then I like, who gives up that moment? And then I got on like the kitchen island and all that mayhem, and I was just
I'm sorry, can we have a recreation of that moment of let's see.
Do you have a video?
No, I don't. I would just like a recreation maybe.
Take me out.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I was hoping that we could.
And
that's where we'll put that. That's where we'll put the OnlyFans.
And I was just honestly, I wasn't even angry. I was just to the point of like, I'm annoyed because I feel like you don't have to do as much digging and throw me under the bus that you're doing because I'm going anyways. So you could honestly have sat there, had calm, cool conversations with Muna, Billy, and Josh, but you didn't have to do as much as you did to throw me under the bus. And that's why I was just so annoyed. And I acted out in that when choosing my battle match picks. And I did go into the elimination when I got caught up. I did go into it with thinking that Muna was given the thing, the safety. And it did cross my mind, like maybe I want to choose Billy. But after we got into that fight when I first came back, I was just like, I don't really want to touch them right now. And if I make it back in this game, I know I said like some things to Muna as I was leaving that elimination, and I knew Muna had an LOS. And even if I didn't know Billy was safe, and even if I would have chose Billy, Muna would have used her LOS, and they would have been even more pissed at me. And so I'm thinking, I'm coming back in this game, and so I don't want to make anyone else even more pissed off at me as they already are. And so that was kind of my mindset with that elimination, because people are like, why didn't you even choose Billy or like flush the LOS? I'm like, Muna would have used the LOS on Billy. I didn't know Billy was safe, but Muna would have used LOS. And then she's like, okay, now we're dead, And I was like, I don't want to make them even more pissed at me right now. And so that was a little bit of my mindset. But me choosing Marcelo was honestly pure emotion, pure annoyance, pure like, okay, you're doing a little bit too much. And like I'm typically a cool yeah, in a lot of sense. And so to get me to pop off, I mean, it doesn't take that much, but like I don't like it to be my first reaction. And especially with Marcelo, I was like, because I also feel like Marcelo knew how I am. He knows how I am. He knows what can come out of me at any particular point, especially like if I feel provoked or if I'm just pissed off. And so us having that fight, I was just completely over him at that time. And I was like, yo, you're being like so whiny and so annoying. And so I was like, I was over it. And I was like, okay, you want to go? Let's go. And that's what happened.
Well, I guess the most important question that we haven't really talked about when it comes to that round is still weighing on me. And I'm sorry if it's a little personal, but can you tell us how many jumping jacks you do a day?
Can I tell you how many jumping jacks I do a day?
Is it more or less than 1,300? That's all I'm asking.
It's not even 3 a day. So it's not even 3 a day. So I was so honestly, that was the battle match that I was the most excited to do, because I just last season 3, I loved watching it. And I was like, oh my goodness, like if I could do any battle match, this is the one I would want to do. So when we walked up and I saw it, I was like, I was so, but I did do push-ups and like jump ropes before Sequester. I was like, I need to build like some sort of like, but not 1,300 jumping jacks. And I don't think the 1,300 jumping jacks came into play. Anyways, but lifting those center blocks, and I was having so much fun. Like it was so fun, especially me going against Marcelo. And we actually made a bet. I was like, yo, if I beat you, you have to pay me $100. And he was like, okay, if I win $100, I still haven't got my $100 yet, boo. But,
scandal. Y'all heard it here
first. Scandal. But like just lifting those, it was really easy for me. I'm very long as well. And so like I could put it much more farther away. And I feel like I was like more calm during it. And I stuffed up ping pong balls in my pants.
Yeah, we saw that.
And so I was like zooming out, and I was like fling. I had my shirt like this. It was lovely. And I feel bad for whoever had to touch those balls afterwards, because they were for sure sweaty. But that's too much information. But yeah.
I hope people had gloves. If you get that $100, you need to use that $100 to buy somebody some pizza.
I know.
Okay, let's move forward a little bit.
I was gonna say real quick. I do think we need like people are doing jumping jacks and stuff. We need like the Sequester workout thing where it's like you're going to the grocery store. All right, take some cinder blocks. You got to balance on these cinder blocks as you walk there. Like very specific workout routine.
Get trained.
Yeah. Ping pongs will be heavily involved for sure.
So if you think of it. You know how typically like people have like 2 balls? I had like 5 balls in my. I guess 2 of my.
Oh, look at the time.
3 of my ping pong.
Wow. Balls. Okay, I think we need to move forward again. Maybe something for your OnlyFans.
Yeah. Do you think this? He's like on wrong channel. I forgot where.
Oh yeah, wrong channel. Oh my bad. I get sucked in. Back to game talk.
Back to game talk. So the round you went out on, I think that, you've already mentioned that you were a little bit more subdued because of the emotional strain of the game. And Tommy and I in our recap, that's something we definitely noted. If Natalie gets voted in, or if Spencer gets voted in, I personally feel like you wouldn't have been chosen for a battle match. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. And at the time, I do agree with that. What were you about to say after that?
I was just going to say, for me, that was like one of the hardest moments, is that I didn't feel like you had the hype or the energy to flip the votes the way that we saw you flipping votes in the early round. And I feel like you became a lot more observant during that round, and a lot less aggressive as a player.
Definitely.
What do you think about your thought process through that?
I think at the time, because first I'm mentally and emotionally exhausted, because that was my 3rd battle match that day. Well, getting into it, that was going to be like I went through the Marcelo one, the Muna one, and then now this round all in one day. So I was like shot. And once I did not think that I didn't have any social capital with Josh. Me and Josh really, and that's one of my biggest regrets in the game, is not really having a relationship with him, or just like not strategically, or just like any type of rapport. And so going into that run, I knew Natalie and Spencer had that over me with him. And so I thought it was no way that Josh could be turned. And he even said like, yeah, I'm just voting you. With Billy, I tried with Billy to not. Did they reveal the vote count at that round?
They did. I'm trying to remember though. I think it was Spencer, Josh, and Billy for you, and you and Natalie for Spencer.
Yeah, and so so when me and Natalie were right there, and then Billy came and said, "Yeah, it's one of y'all two." I did not like. It was like me or Natalie, and if it's me or her, I'm like, all right, you know. And not saying I would just go in, but it's kind of like, all right. Yeah, I accepted it at that point because I just thought it was no way that I could get Billy, because I talked to Billy in that round, and I was really trying to push the point of like, hey Billy, like I will not vote you out, and like final, like you can use me as a vote out, and I'm not stupid. I'm like, I just want to get there, and once I get there, I can flip the script however I want to flip it. But if I can convince her of like, hey, like I don't think she believed me, or it just like didn't work out in her plans. Just like, hey, I'm not voting Spencer because she came out and said like Spencer's been loyal to me, so like I'm not gonna like vote him out. I'm like, it's y'all two right now, and I honestly just didn't feel like fighting against Natalie or pushing it on Natalie. And it was, if it's one of us, I'll just accept that it's one of us, and I'll go into the battle match and do what I have to do to come back. And so it was more of like, I'm just accepting the fact that it's me or Natalie and accepting a battle match in my future. And I'm just like, all right, let's go do it. And so that was more of where I was coming from.
Yeah. With this battle match, how much time was in between the breaking the potted jars and the battle match? Because I don't know if I would have thought to remember, like how much was remembering and how much was just guessing on that.
Like I think I guessed probably majority of the questions, because we had the pot smashing, and then Josh chose Billy to be safe, and then the round started, and then we go to do the battle match. After that, we do the voting, we sit for a while, and then we go to the elimination, and then I choose Spencer. And Spencer, like, he did like give an argument back of like, hey, like, you know, he was like, Jacob, can I please say something? And I let him say something, and then but I was like, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way I'm choosing Natalie. I'm not gonna do that. And it's like, I knew me and Spencer would have a hard time in final two. I don't think me and Spencer, I know he made a comment in the spot patching, like, oh, me and Jacob played a similar game. I don't think we played a similar game. I think we were just like in similar positions, like with the battle match and things like that. I don't think we played necessarily a similar game, but he had 3, I had 3. And I was like, I'm going to need like some other things on my resume, because I know the jury is not the most happy with me, not the happiest with me. And so if I can, you know, battle match the person that put, you know, a lot of them in there, and that has like a 3, I feel like, okay, that's another asterisk. Even though battle matches aren't the only important thing, it's like I can just include that as, okay, I won the most battle match of the season. And so with Natalie, it was like, she's my alliance member. I don't feel like turning on her. And it just doesn't do anything for me to beat Natalie. It doesn't. And so I saw more to like picking Spencer and that doing more for my game.
I guess there was a little bit of a disconnect there when we think about the fact that Natalie wanted to go into the battle match, right? Not against you, but it almost is surprising that you weren't like, well, Natalie wants to go into the battle match, so let's vote her in.
I thought she was okay. I told her this. I legit thought she was going to vote herself. And I legit thought she was going to vote herself. But I remember when I went to go talk to Billy after she told Ace between you and Natalie, I talked to her and she told me it wasn't Spencer. She's not like voting Spencer. And I talked to her and I think I was like, okay, well, will you vote Natalie? But I was never going to drag Natalie in. But I legit thought like Natalie's pushing for herself to go into a battle match because she wants to make a big move, and she feels like the jury hasn't really seen her game up front. And I legit thought that she was, for a split second, was going to vote herself that round. And I want to say, I don't remember specifically, but I want to say I might have been pushing Billy to vote Natalie just because it was between me and her. But if I would have got voted in, I didn't think I was definitely not choosing her, and she wasn't choosing me. But at that point, it was like I legit thought she was going to vote herself, because she wanted that so bad, and she was adamant that like she wanted to go into a battle match to prove to like showcase something to the jury. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of like weary on me, just the placement of that. But yeah,
if let's say it was just one true or false, if you win that, Spencer goes out there, what was your plan going into Final Four if you were able to get there?
If I was able to get there,
And Spencer's out now, and you take Spencer's part.
It would have been to vote Billy. It would have been. I feel like that was the most obvious move. Billy was, one of the biggest threats going in there, and I knew Josh would drag me if he was eliminated, because me and him just never had that relationship at all throughout the entire game, and I didn't see Billy dragging me specifically because in the last round, when I was talking to her, when I was trying to convince her, she brought up her brother, Josh. And she was like, bro, if I do this, this is for Josh. And like, just y'all relationship, because I know how much he loves you. And I was like, yeah, you know what? And like, I think we like hugged after that. And so I didn't see Billy dragging me. And I knew Natalie would not have dragged me. And I would like to have sat next to Natalie in the final two. But it would be to, do Billy. And if Natalie kind of had that reaction that she had in the final four, we were like, okay, Natalie, please, like, look at me in the eyes. I need you in this moment, Natalie. I need you. And so who knows how the game
I don't think Natalie does that if you're in the final four.
Nah, I don't know either. And she told me that she was like, when she was strategizing before the final four, she was envisioning me sitting there with her, like in the final four, like and coming back. And so she told me that she was definitely shocked when Spencer came back, just because that wasn't necessarily in her plans with like evaluating things at the end. But I mean, yeah, I definitely think Josh would have dragged me 1,000%. I'm trying not to say 1,000% because I never knew how much I said it to the show, but yeah, I didn't know how much me and Josh just never had that relationship. So I knew he would have put me in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't watch the recap yet, then you missed Audrey being like, or as Jacob Jones would say, 1,000%.
1,000%. I say 1,000% like TBH a lot. TBH.
See, you're going to be out of it now. You're going to be like, oh, like I'm over this, and everyone else is now going to be catching on. They're going to be like, oh, 1,000%.
I know.
Look what you started.
1,000%.
But so we see you unfortunately lose to Spencer. I think everybody's question is, when it comes to your strategy, who was your shield? Many people thought, why would Jacob Jones get rid of Muna? She's clearly the biggest shield, and without Muna, who's up front, is Jacob Jones.
Yeah.
But there were times you mentioned Spencer, and now you're saying maybe Billy. Who did you felt like could shield you?
Well, I didn't necessarily think Billy was my shield. I just knew at the final four, that's where like I wanted to like vote her out of the final four. That's like an aspect of the game where I didn't really take into consideration. And I think I have I don't think of myself as a threatening or as a threat or as like the top, like as a target. I don't view myself as such. And so I feel like since I never saw myself as like, oh, I'm the next to go if this person leaves. And I was just looking around like, okay, I have people who I'm working with right now who can like, we can just definitely do things. And I thought Spencer, and perceivably as a shield, as like, he's working with me, but we can also like do things. And I feel like many people don't really like him as much as they like me. And so going back to like the beginning of this, I was just like, I just want to build my resume and then get there. And so the shield aspect, honestly, when people bring it up, I'm like, honestly, that would have made sense. But oh my goodness, I am so sorry. All right.
Too popular.
I know, right? But my whole thing was just like, let me put things on my resume. And the shield aspect, I should have took that into more of a consideration with even like, targeting Moon at day night, because who's the next person to go? And now seeing everyone's, outlook on the game, it was me, and that's why I got targeted the next 3 times. 3 times, Marcelo.
Want to talk reputation.
And trying to talk about reputation. And so that's just an aspect that I wasn't cognitive of in the moment. And I just think I don't view myself as like the target. And I'm kind of like, oh, well, I'm like here and, do. But like, people were threatened and, I was like up here on a lot of people's radar, and so I just didn't see myself being up here for a lot of people's radar, and I missed that aspect. And another aspect that I want to say I missed out on and didn't look at is I overlooked a lot of people in the game, specifically Natalie at the beginning, but Josh and I would say Billy. And I think probably because I got to a point where I was so deep into shit that I could only see myself and the people that were like directly around me. But one of I really wish that I would have had a more of a rapport with Josh and with Billy in the game, because I think when it came down to it, Billy and Josh were safe in the final 6. We know when 3 people were safe. Billy and Josh were safe in the final 5, and I feel as though there's nothing I can really do because I don't have that rapport with them as like these other people in the game do, and I just honestly like overlooked them in the game because I had like my target and I had my people, and those were the only things I was viewing in the game, and so that's also like another thing that I wish I would have saw more when I was playing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do we have any final questions, Tommy? I know we've gone a little bit longer than we usually do.
No, all my questions at this point would just be about Jacob's shoulders. Still, that's all I'm thinking. Oh, there they are.
Then subscribe to his OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. You get shoulders and you get much more.
Clavicle. He's talking clavicle.
Yeah.
I'm talking clavicle. Yes. Let's keep this PG.
It's him eating cereal out of it.
Yes, it's me eating cereal out of this thing. That's like,
You're kind of grossing me out right now.
It's ASMR. It's ASMR.
All right. Well, any final words, Jacob? You said that there was something you wanted to talk about at the end.
Did I?
Oh man, the cliffhanger.
We may never know what it was.
What did I say I want to talk about at the end?
We were talking about the vote, and you were like, "Well, I'll just say that at the end." Maybe it was the thing about Billy, about seeing her game. Now that you've seen it.
Oh, I mean, I feel like I kind of hinted at that, but yeah, now seeing Billy's game, like, I always thought Billy was a great winner, just for the season. But like seeing her game, I'm like she worked the shit from day 1 to episode 10, and I'm super glad to see her represent season 4, and she definitely deserved that crown.
Can I tell you something that you're not going to be happy to hear? But if you had sat next to, I was like, I'm going to ask you a question, but I keep talking. But if you had sat next to Billy, her look was better than yours. Her finale night look. It was superior.
I will give it to you. I know.
Honestly, I know we're friends, but I'm here to tell the truth on this podcast.
Okay, but listen, I would. Oh, Billy came out fire. The shoes. I don't know. Did y'all see the shoes?
The red shoes?
Yes. Okay. As the shoes were, but my look that I was going for that, I wanted to bring out the blue, the turtle. Okay, this is another thing. The black turtleneck that everyone says it is, it's not black. It's navy blue. And I was gonna bring that out with the chain, and I was gonna have that be like, it was a more symbolic, like, you know what I mean? So I was literally saving that outfit towards the very end, and I never had to wear the all black outfit that the jury did, because I was the last, well, not the last jury, but like before the finale, I was the last jury, so I just got to dress in my finale outfit. But my outfit, my concept was just like, make it symbolic, make it. I looked very cute in the finale in my jury questioning. I was looking at myself and I was like, damn.
By the way, we didn't have this on the recording at the time, but Jacob Jones told me at the beginning of this interview that he has a picture of himself on his mirror.
I feel like 99% of watching back the season for you was just like, man, I look really good.
Yeah, you're right. No, Tommy, I was like, hey, I really look cute. Hey, it was more like with the tanks. I was like, oh my god, I wear tanks every day now, because I've always been a lanky dude, and so I was like, I like what I see. I sound so vain on here. Oh my gosh.
Well, this is gotcha journalism at its finest. Yeah. I will say. We got you.
But thank y'all so much also for just like recapping the season and having me on and talking about my thoughts in the game, and yeah, I appreciate it a ton.
We had a ton of fun, and we're so glad that you could be with us today.
Oh yes, the /villain / entertaining of season 4.
Oh yeah, which Disney villain did you decide on? There was a lot of mixed reviews. People were saying Scar. People were saying Cruella de Vil vibes. What Disney villain?
I really prefer Scar, because if y'all remember, I used to get a cut through my eyebrow that my barber used to just put in, and I just like Scar's thing, and I like just like him taking Mufasa and just like because I feel like I did that with a lot of my friends this season.
Yeah.
I feel like Scar fits you. Scar, I feel like, is very theatrical and very. He does it for the performance. And I think you also like the performance of it.
Yes, and we're putting on a show, people. And so I'm like, and this is another thing. I feel like I'm like a fun person. I know I keep like attacking, but I feel like I'm a very fun person. But many people have not seen my personality. I feel like, you know, Suzi has and Tommy has, because y'all gotten to know me. I'm more like outside of the sequester, like, you know, just mini game. So I feel like y'all have seen my personality. But a lot of people were like, Jacob Jones, like people, the production, Brent, like he was like, Jacob, I thought you were miscast. Like I did not know like you were like this, like entertaining or like fun and things like that. A lot of people thought I was boring. I was like, yo, I'm not a boring person. I like, you know, I'm full of life and full
well,
of.
I'm very eager for you to hear what Audrey has to say about you on the
on the episode. The episode that just came out of like the recap. I'm excited to listen. I'll go listen to it.
Yes, because it very much speaks to that idea.
Really? A lot of production were like, "Oh, Jacob Jones. Oh, okay," but you know, I'm happy. I'm glad.
Showed out.
Hey, I have no regrets, only choices, and if I didn't win, like making an impact and just like doing things in the game, like I'm proud of my game, and I played the way that I wanted to. I had little missteps here and there, but overall, like I have like. You know, watching it back, I'm proud of the game I play. I feel like I made it to Final Five. I'm, you know, putting my head high, and holding my head high, and you know.
Sorry, Tommy was making a weird face.
I was trying to also hold my head high.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jacob. And we're so happy about season 4, and we can't wait to see you on season 5.
Yes. Bye.
All right.
Oh no! Whoa!
Oh Lord! OnlyFans again.